Hi, I'm Krista Jacobson, head mistress of the Budoryukai, and tonight we have a new moon. I'll explain more what that is a little bit later in the video, but during a new moon is when the ninja would infiltrate and do night raids. Also tonight we have a thunderstorm coming, and in many ninjutsu densho they talk about weather patterns and when to infiltrate and things like that, and because we have a new moon plus a thunderstorm coming in here, I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to shoot some video and talk about infiltration tactics right from the scrolls. Okay, here we go. I just got done hearing some thunder and I saw some lightning and it's starting to rain a little bit, so I thought I'd go ahead and start this video before it starts coming down too hard on us, before the thunderstorm really comes in. But right when I introduced the video I talked about the new moon. Now the new moon is the exact opposite of a full moon. So when you look at moon phases, the full moon is when the moon is at its brightest, and that's going to be when there's going to be the most light during the night, where that's during a full moon. During the new moon, the moon is at its darkest. You don't see the moon, so it's going to be the darkest nights during the moon phase. So a lot of the ninja manuals and historical documents talk about infiltration and night raids during the darkest nights of the moon phases, right? So also tonight we have a thunderstorm coming with rain and wind and all this kind of stuff. So I want to talk about the different elements, what we're looking at tonight, and kind of talk about different historical documents and kind of blend them together in a lesson for all of you guys. Okay, so we're going to start out with the Nimpuden, and the Nimpuden was written in 1560 by Hattori Hanzo, and one of the most recognized and well-known ninja documents. And inside the Nimpuden it says, take advantage of severe wind and rain. And even though we don't have the winds tonight, as we will later during this thunderstorm we have coming, we do have rain coming as well. So when it's raining and when the wind is going, it says take advantage of that. Now in the Gunpo Jyoshu scrolls, which is written in 1612 by Ogasawara, it talks about how to when to go in for night raids, and it says the best times for a night attack are as follows: in a tough situation, during an intervention, on the night after the night of heavy rain and wind, or on the night of heavy rain and wind. However, if it gets too heavy, you will be limited in movement to the point where you cannot fight very well. So in the Gunpo Jyoshu, it's saying that you definitely want to infiltrate when it's raining and there's heavy winds, but you don't want to go in there when there's too much rain, because then that hinders you as well when you're trying to put in fighting tactics. Now we're going to look at the Bon Senshukai, written in 1676 by Fujibayashi Yasutake. And inside the Bon Senshukai, Fujibayashi writes, "You must consider the time of the rising and setting of the moon. It is best to infiltrate before the moon rises or after it sets. This is called Tsuki no Daiji, or the principle of the moon. Ancient ninja named this skill before Yakushi and after Jizo, and it was kept secret. This is because moonlit nights are usually disfavored by those performing the art of Inen." And as many of you guys know, Inen is dark ninjutsu. So that's what's written in the Bon Senshukai. Now we're going to talk about those particular points here in a minute once I get to another manual. In this particular ninjutsu scroll, Chikimatsu Shigenori writes, "In principle, a shinobi relies on darkness. The day of festival for Yakushi is the 8th day of the lunar month. Before the 8th day, the moon appears in the early evening. The day of the festival for Jizo is on the 24th day of the lunar month, and after that day, you have moonless nights. Therefore, you should be careful of infiltrators before and after the festivals of Yakushi and Jizo. When you infiltrate, you should also keep this principle in mind." Now, this is what Chikimatsu writes in his particular scroll. Now we're going to go back to the Bon Senshukai, because the Bon Senshukai earlier, when we read from that, Fujibayashi writes, "The ancient ninja named this skill before Yakushi and after Jizo, and it was kept secret. This is because moonlit nights are usually disfavored by those performing the arts of Inen." So what we're going to do is take this particular concept and we're going to really kind of just dumb it down, right? Basically, you have the full moon, and the full moon, you know, as it starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller, it gets to the new moon, which is completely black. Now, once you get to the halfway point, right, when it goes from full moon to the half moon. Once you get to that halfway point and it starts going dark, that's when you're going to want to start to infiltrate, when it's half full going to darkness, and then from darkness up to half full. But once the moon starts growing from a new moon, which is completely dark, once you start seeing the moon again, once it gets halfway, that's when you should stop. So during that time, when the moon is going from a full moon all the way to darkness, and going from darkness to a full moon, in between those halfway points, that's what it's saying. That's the time to infiltrate. The best time is between those 2 points, and what's between those 2 points is the new moon. Now, stepping away from the ninjutsu scrolls, we're now going to look at a samurai scroll, a Heiho scroll. And this particular samurai scroll was written by Yamamoto Kansuke, and it's called the Heiho Hidensho. Now, in this particular document, he writes many different passages, and he talks about how to fight in different kinds of terrain, so on and so forth. Now, one of the passages that he writes is fighting on dark nights, which would be the new moon, right? And it says, when fighting on a dark night, keep low and try to figure out what form of weaponry the enemy is wielding. If there are any obstacles, keep them in front of you as you fight. That was the passage that he wrote on how to fight on a dark night. Another passage that Yamamoto Kansuke writes is how to fight in the rain. And in this particular passage he says, when fighting in the rain, keeping outside striking distance, lower your head and watch the form of the enemy's weapon. Wielding your sword in an upper position, you can get the advantage. He also writes a passage on how to fight in thunderstorms. And here in this particular passage, Yamamoto Kansuke writes, when fighting while thunderstorms are booming, if you master the pattern, it becomes your ally, whereas if you err, it becomes your enemy. The reason behind this is the pattern of being startled or not being startled. Even if you're startled, it will thunder when it thunders, and it won't when it doesn't. And the same is so even if you're not startled. So why be startled? Just make the thunder your ally and strike the enemy when he's startled. I'm going to read you guys one more passage in the Heiho Hidensho written by Yamamoto Kansuke, and this one's fighting in a lightning storm. When fighting in a lightning storm, keep its light to your back, getting the enemy to be facing the light. This is because first, it shows his form. Second, it obstructs his vision. Third, it takes away his spunk. Fourth, it distracts his mind.
Thank you very much for watching my video. If this is the first video that you've seen of mine, I'm Krista Jacobson, Headmistress of the Budo-Ryukai. If you'd like to see more videos on the ancient ninja and samurai, please subscribe to our channel. If you're interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu training, check out our website at www.budo-ninjutsu.com. There you can see all of our books, videos, downloads, DVDs. We even offer an online ninjutsu dojo for those who do not live next to one of our dojos. So if you're interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, check out our website at www.budo-ninjutsu.com. Again, thank you very much for watching my video. Thank you for all of your love and support. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, take care, be safe, and good luck in your journey of Budo. Blessed be.